Well, hey, I'm Aaron, and if you're anything like me, your 2015 is flying by. I mean, it's almost Christmas time, and here at Lifepoint, that means we're preparing for our year-end offering. This year, it's taking place December 6th, and a couple weeks back, Pastor Jeff rolled out the vision for what that offering is going towards. Check out this video.
This is the time of year that we begin preparing as a church for what God has ahead of us. This time of year, we prep for a special year-end Christmas offering. And throughout the past years, we've been able to give in a generous way as a church to initiatives all over the world as well as right here in our own neighborhood. We've been able to do things like drill wells in Africa. We built a church in Uganda. We've expanded and paid off our own kids space right here at Lifepoint Church. And many of you were the driving force behind that. You prayed, you gave, you sacrificed. And I just want to say thank you so much for what you have done. And I just believe looking back at what our church has accomplished, it fires me up for what God has ahead of us. You know, in the Bible, in Acts chapter 1, the very last words of Jesus to his disciples were that you are going to be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. What he was saying to them was that your next steps are going to take you to new places. You're going to go literally to the ends of the earth, and you're going to carry the message of hope. Well, I'm excited to tell you that we are preparing for what we are calling our Next Steps offering. Our Next Steps offering. On December the 6th, we're asking everybody that calls Lifepoint home to begin praying, to begin seeking God, and to come prepared on December 6th to give an offering to help us take our next step. But it's not just about Lifepoint Church. It's about what God is doing across the globe. You see, as our church has grown, God has knit our heart with several ministries that we're excited to be partnering with. You know, if Jesus sent his disciples to Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth, that's like saying, I want you to make an impact locally, nationally, and globally. Well, we've got a global partner that we are incredibly excited about, and it's Amigos for Christ. Many of you are familiar with Amigos for Christ. They're located in Nicaragua. As a matter of fact, we've already seen 150 Lifepointers go on a missions trip to Nicaragua. And I know that when you go there, God changes your life in a radical way. One of the villages in Nicaragua that we've been able to partner with is called La Chuscara. La Chuscara is a village that has been through incredible difficulty. But because of Amigos and because of the generosity and partnership with Lifepoint, they've been able to receive fresh water. Imagine living in a place where you had no clean water and now it is delivered all the way to your home. That's amazing. Well, the next hurdle that they're facing is education. 67% of the kids growing up in Nicaragua never make it past 6th grade. And because of that, they face incredible difficulties. And our church, in partnering with Amigos for Christ, has said, we're going to do something about that. We want to change a generation that is ultimately going to change the entire landscape of Nicaragua, beginning in this village called La Chuscara. And so we're going to make an impact. Part of our Next Steps offering is going to Amigos for Christ to build the school in La Chuscara. And what fires me up is they're not just building any old run-of-the-mill school. This is going to be the best school in all of Nicaragua. It is open to the public. Kids from surrounding communities are going to be able to come. And how awesome to just think, just maybe you could be on a missions trip in the next year or two. You could go to La Chuscara and you can meet the kids that you're going to be able to make an impact in. So globally, we're partnering with Amigos for Christ, and we're going to continue to further the impact. The entire project cost $70,000. They've already raised $35,000, and I just believe that our church can make a big dent in the remaining $35,000. So be praying about that. On the national level, I'm really excited to tell you that as we've grown as a church, we've been able to begin impacting other churches. And one of the churches that we've been able to directly impact are some friends of ours in a tiny little town in Chillicothe, Ohio, called Centerpoint Church. Yes, I said Chillicothe. You're wondering where in the world is that? I wondered that too until I went to Chillicothe for the first time. God has built a friendship between my heart and the heart of Pastor Chris Van Buskirk. Now, many of you know Pastor Chris because he's been here. He's preached from the Lifepoint stage. And what God is doing in Centerpoint Church is amazing. You see, they're just about 6 years old, and in 6 years, they've grown to over 600 people. They're meeting in a school. They're running 3 services. I mean, I have flashbacks to the days that we were in a school. And they're in the process of taking their next step. Pastor Chris just announced to their church that they're launching a no limits campaign for them to be able to reach the 70% of Chillicothe that doesn't go to church anywhere, for them to be able to secure their first ever permanent facility. I don't know if you were a part of Lifepoint back in those days when we took that step, but that was scary and that was faith stretching. And as we stand in it now, I realize that was one of the most pivotal moments of our church, and they're in the process of taking that. Well, I'm excited because I want our little brothers there in Chillicothe to know that Big Brother Lifepoint believes in them. And here's something really cool. So while you're watching this today on video, I'm actually in Chillicothe at Centerpoint, preaching at all 3 of their services. Now, you guys pray for me, because I don't know if you know this. I'm a Steelers fan, and we lost to the Bengals last week, so I'm probably preaching angry right about now because we had a friendly bet that said I have to wear Bengals gear if the Steelers lose. So I probably have a Bengals hat on or a Bengals shirt, and I'm not happy about it, but I still love them. And so pray for me that I will be grace-filled when I don't want to be. But bottom line is, these guys are incredible. They're doing phenomenal things. I mean, they've seen God just go above and beyond over and again. Their team is poised to just transform the town of Chillicothe, and what God's going to do there is going to expand way beyond that. And so part of our Next Steps offering is going to help Centerpoint Church take their next step. And someday they're going to be in their facility, and they're going to be saying, thank you, Lifepoint Church, for believing in us. I remember when we were taking that step, and I just wondered if there was anybody else out there that would believe in us. And you know what? Last year, when our church was expanding our kids' space, Centerpoint sent a check to us saying we want to be a part of what God is doing. Well, this is our chance to be able to say, Centerpoint, we believe in you. We love you. And so, Lifepoint, as you're praying, pray for Centerpoint and Chillicothe and Pastor Chris Van Buskirk that God would do more than they could ever ask or imagine, and we're going to be a part of sowing into that. So globally, we're focused on Amigos for Christ in Nicaragua, La Chuscada. Nationally, Centerpoint Church in Ohio. And then locally, we're going to pour into Wilmington, North Carolina, and the surrounding regions. You know, when we started Lifepoint Church, we had a dream of impacting Wilmington. I had no clue that what God was going to do here in Wilmington would reach beyond this city to surrounding areas. I had no idea that we would have people literally making a drive every single week from Leland, from Carolina Beach, from Burgaw, from Jacksonville, from Topsail, from Surf City. It's amazing when you stop and you realize that what God is doing here is so attractive and so transformational that people are driving 45 minutes to an hour just to get a taste of it. I mean, when you stop and look at this year alone, we have seen 301 people baptized. And that's not even counting what God's doing today at Lifepoint Church. And so I ask you, Lifepoint, would you partner and would you pray? Would you pray that as we give generously, sacrificially, above and beyond our tithes and offerings, that God will multiply it? And that as we take our next steps, as we step out, that we would see God step in a radical way, and it would transform this community, that we would see more people discovering the love of Christ. And so locally, right here, Lifepoint Church, our city, our region. Nationally, Centerpoint Church, Chillicothe. And then globally, Nicaragua, Amigos for Christ, La Chuscada. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to share with you what God does. But on December 6th, we're going to bring a gift. So be praying, sacrifice. Let's get ready for what God is going to do.